Hi there, welcome to Find Your Voice. My name is Joe Cramond, and I'm the host of today's show. We have a very special guest today, Martin Salama. He is known as the architect of the Warrior's Life Code. What a title. Martin, how are you today?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Joe?
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you very much. If you can give us a description of that wonderful title, that would be wonderful, and give us an idea of what that means.
Yeah. So for me, the word life is everything I try to do, and it stands for live incredibly full every day.
Oh, that's a brilliant philosophy. That's perfect. Okay, so what we're going to discuss today is just a few quick fire questions. Go through, learn a bit more about who you are and what you're about and what you have to offer and your insights. And when you're ready, we'll get started.
I'm ready.
Perfect. Okay. So, what does it say on your business card?
Well, does anybody really have business cards anymore?
Well, this is true. I know. If you had one, what would it?
It would
How
say
would you
the
summarize
architect of the Warriors Life Code.
code? Okay. No, that's fair enough. Okay. So, on paper, why should you have never been successful?
One paper white. Because for many, many years, I was a people pleaser trying to please everybody. And it took me many years to recognize that I was pleasing no one.
Really? Okay. How did that? If you could elaborate on that one, how did you sort of figure that one out?
Well, when I was young, I had a tragedy in my life that my younger brother was killed by a school bus,
Oh wow,
and
sorry.
it affected me because I felt like it was my job to carry on the mantle, carry on the legacy,
Hmm.
which meant I wanted my parents to be happy, and as a result, everybody else. So with that came a lot of other things. I took everything personally. I had a short temper. I was a control freak. And at the end of the day, as somebody who's a people pleaser, all you ever want to do is please everybody. So at the end, and I took me going through my marriage and 2008 when the financial world fell apart, I lost absolutely everything.
Wow.
And then a year or so later, my wife said, "I'm done. I want a divorce." And I had just made a decision that I was going to go for life coaching. So I was like, "Okay, why does everything keep happening to me?" And then I decided I'm going to go through life coaching anyway. And they handed us a list of books, and one of them was The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. Did you ever read that?
I've not. No, I've not read that one. No.
Well, it's a great book. Uh, there's only four agreements, so it'll be easy for me to tell them to you. So I better put my glasses on. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions. Always do your best. And when I read that second one, don't take anything personally, I felt like he was talking to me directly.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you mean I don't have to have the world on my shoulders? I don't have to think that everything that happens is up to me to fix. And then I went to coaching and they said, you don't have to stay who you think you are. And that started the ball rolling. And it was then that I recognized that I was trying to please everybody. And I made a decision. It was like my first real decision that I was going to please myself first as long as I wasn't hurting anybody. And then I
Mm.
built on that. And it took a while, but that was how it came about. And now I call myself a recovering people pleaser.
Yeah, that's a that's a good one. So I'm guessing with your program, you teach this the same sort of principle. I would imagine in that
Yeah,
program
it's
as
it's one
well.
of my principles. Actually, I've just recently come out with a card deck called the Warrior to Warrior
Or
card deck.
warrior
And
to
it's
warrior.
it's my course in little snippets.
That's great. What other any more? A couple of other ones in there that are interesting to sort of flash on the screen.
Sure. So one of the things as somebody was a people pleaser was I always felt that I need to rationalize my decisions, right? Because you want to make sure you're doing everything good. And sometimes it goes against your inner values to do these things. So you rationalize that it's okay, I can do it. But to me, I found out that the word rationalize
Hmm.
is really two words: rational lies.
Mm.
I'll read you what it says on the back of the card. It says, whenever you think you may be doing something that goes against your values, you will rationalize all the reasons why it's okay to do those things. What you're really doing is lying to yourself that it's rational to think that. They are nothing more than rational lies. Like you say, okay, today I'm not going to exercise on a simple level. I'm too tired. I don't feel like exercising. Now, is that the truth, or you're looking for an excuse to get out of it? So you make a
Mm.
reason saying, oh, I didn't sleep well. But you know, if you started exercising about 10, 15 minutes into it, you'll say, this was a good idea.
Mm.
So when you're saying to yourself, I'm too tired, is that really a rational lie?
Mm. That's a good point. A good way of the words playing on that one. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love using wordplay. Obviously, life, rationalize, and I have a few more,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's really cool. So, okay. Well, the next question would be then, if you asked 10 of your old schoolmates about you, how would they have described you?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, here's a story for you. I was a very sensitive kid growing up. And in our school system, when you graduate from eighth grade, you're about 12, 13, 14 years old. You're going into high school. And when you graduate, they make a yearbook. And in the yearbook, they write a last will and testament, like a joke of each thing that you would leave somebody.
Hmm.
They thought it was funny, but they left me a box of Kleenex tissues because I cried all the time. So I would say that I was the kid that was easily picked on.
Right. I see.
I was bullied.
Yeah. Well, that's what makes you stronger at the end of the day, isn't it? Unfortunately, as
Yeah.
much as we try and avoid kids going through that now, sometimes a little bit of teasing and stuff, it doesn't always hurt
It
as
doesn't.
much.
And I
It's
go
it's an
home and I'd
interest.
cry to my parents. I'd cry. My father's like, "Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it." But it hurt. I was very sensitive.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so this would be an interesting question for you. So, if you're writing a script for a movie about your life, what would the opening scene be? Describe the opening scene.
Well, I think the opening scene for me would be I was walking down my block of my home with one of my four older sisters, and there's a school bus stopped in front of my house. And as we get closer, we see the bus driver standing outside and he's crying and we don't know what's going on. And then the next thing is we see my mother running out, carrying my 5-year-old brother in her arms, jumps in the car and drives away. So for me, the opening scene would be my mother driving away and finding out that my brother was just hit by the school bus because he dropped something in front of this bus. The bus driver didn't see him and drove.
Yeah. Wow. Hmm. That's a tragic story, but yeah, it's definitely it could be a very interesting film about your life and how it's progressed and the way
Yep.
things have turned out for you on the result of that.
Yep.
Okay, so when was the last time you did something that scared you?
Well, that's a good question. So a couple of years ago, about almost two summers ago, I went skydiving for the first time. And I would say it scared me a little bit, but I was so exhilarated that I was excited the entire time. So
Hmm.
I don't know if that counts, but I would think that
Well,
most people jumping out of a plane, even though I was, you know, it was a tandem and all that, that would scare most people. I was so excited to do it that I don't think I was scared, but it would be sound scary.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, it's the way you feel afterwards when you've overcome that sort of like,
Oh, my
feeling of.
stomach was queasy for a little while.
I can imagine. Yeah, were you strapped to anyone, or was it just on your
I was
own?
done, yeah, strapped to a tandem, and I got a video of it and everything.
Right. Okay. No, that'd be interesting to see. Okay, fair enough. So, when it comes to advice, then, so what do people seek you out for?
Well, they seek me out for the ideas of, I like to say that people come to me saying, "Is this all there is in life?" They have this existential crisis
Hmm.
of, "Is this all there is?" And the funny thing is, most people answer is no, there's more. But to me, the answer is yes. It's how you're looking at it that makes the difference. So I help people shift their mindset from lack to abundance, but on a deeper level, from self conscious to self aware, which is
Hmm.
another card in my deck.
Okay, that's an interesting one. So it's perception, isn't it, of how we perceive the world and yeah, and everything else. If you can shift that, it makes a huge difference, definitely.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the one weakness that you're working on to improve? Would you say is a weakness of yours at the moment?
The one weakness I would have to say would be follow up. As good as I've gotten, I'm still not where I'd like to be on follow up.
Is that within business, like following up
Everything,
on?
everything,
Right.
everything. I'm the type of guy, if I don't do it right then and there, 10 minutes later, it's out of my mind. And I'm like, what was I supposed to do? I was supposed to follow up. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a fair one. Yeah, I think a lot of us are guilty of that as well, to be honest. So,
Yeah.
well, you've already told us a lot about sort of stories and stuff like that. So it's been an interesting one. In 60 seconds, teach me and the audience something that will change our lives. So,
Okay. I have this thing which is an extension or a deeper level understanding of the law of attraction. Okay. I call it the cycle of A's. A, ask for what you want. Ask the universe, ask God, whatever your higher power is, ask it. The next A is act. Start doing the work towards getting what you want. And then the third A is the most important. And it's a cycle. So if you get this, you're in a perpetual motion. It's attitude. Have an attitude of detached emotion to the outcome. Because if it's not supposed to be, it's the universe or God telling you need to make a shift. And if
Mm,
you get too emotionally attached to it, you won't let go. Your desperation will come in, your lack will come in.
mm. That's really interesting. Yeah. So your emotions, just keep them back and don't let your ego get in the way or your pride, and just realize it's a result of your actions and change it and shift it. That's really, really interesting
All
stuff.
right. Did I keep it
Uh,
within 60 seconds?
yeah, that was spot on. Yeah, I wasn't actually monitoring the count, but that's fine.
I'm
That's
kidding.
great.
I'm kidding.
So when was the last time you had to leave something behind? What was it and why?
When was the last time? Wow. Uh,
Could
I
have
would
worked,
say
job,
the
or been-
that had an emotional attachment would
Mm,
be when I was getting divorced and I had to leave my house and move an hour away from my children.
mm.
So leaving that house that I built with my wife, and understanding the emotion and fearing that my relationship with my children would be hurt as a result of my leaving.
No, that's fair enough. That's a strong one, definitely. Okay, so your 20-year-old self is watching the show right now. What would you advise them?
Oh, that's easy. Don't take anything personally.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you've hit that one on there before. Definitely, that's a good one. Okay, so give me one revealing question that I will ask the next guest on your behalf. So one of your insights I can ask them.
Wow, that's interesting. The one revealing question. Oh, you got me there. When you look in the mirror, are you happy with who you see?
Hmm, that's a fair one. Yeah, no, I think that'll be an interesting one to see what people would say about that. Definitely. Okay, so who else would you, if you know that you would love to be on the show? Who else within your network or friends or family?
Sure, sure. Dr. Obam Bowen. He's my mentor. He's fantastic. He helped me make a huge mind shift along the way of my mind shifts.
Okay. Is he aware of this podcast? Is he going to be watching this right now, do you think? No.
Nope, nope, but
Oh,
that's
well,
okay. It's okay. We can hook him up.
hook him up. Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so what 3 words do you want written on your epitaph?
Uh, well, it's 4 words. He made a difference.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's a really good one. Well, I mean, Martin, this has been a great conversation, and you've already. Do you want to flash off one more of your cards and give us a little
Sure,
bit more
sure,
one
sure,
of your,
sure. Let's
one
go
of your
with the
favorites?
self-conscious versus self-aware. So here you go. Self-conscious versus self-aware. I'll be real quick. Self-conscious comes from a place of negative energy, guilt, conflict, and doubt. Self-consciousness is more outward directed. It's being more concerned about what others are thinking of you and how the situation is going to affect you. You probably react to uncomfortable situations instead of respond. Self awareness comes from a place of positive energy, acceptance, contentment, and self assuredness. Self awareness is more inward facing. You have an accurate and realistic understanding of how you're responding to situations and how you feel about things.
That's really great advice. So these cards, where do we purchase these from? Are they from your website or?
Yeah. Well, I made a site called connectwithmartin.com. Very
Mhm.
simple. You can go there. You can get my cards. You can get my book that's coming out in the next month or so. You could also get free gifts. Like, let me ask you a question, Joe. How would you like to have a coloring book?
Well, yeah, it sounds interesting. Yeah.
Right. So I made one for kids and then I made one for adults called 7 Steps You Must Teach Your Children to Have an Abundant Warrior Mindset. And the word
Mm.
warrior is the 7 tips. So we put it into a coloring book.
Oh,
So
that
go to
sounds great.
connectwithmartin.com and you can download 2 free coloring books plus a few other things as well.
Wow, that's really useful. Let's hope our audience is taking note of that one. Great. Well, Martin, this has been an absolute pleasure and wonderful. I appreciate your time. And if anyone else wants to become a thought leader and become a part of the show, visit us at www.podcastguesting.pro. And we'll look forward to hearing from you. And Martin, it's been a pleasure and you enjoy the rest of your day. And our audience, be sure to check him out online. And yeah, enjoy
The,
yourself. And
the pleasure's been all mine.
no problem at all. Right. Thanks for your time, Martin.
Thank
take
you.
care, everybody. Cheers.